Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, April 5th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us tonight. Well, an early morning scare for some Clinton residents as a plane crashes in nearby the wooded area.
The incident occurred near Joint Base Andrews, and Janine Samuels was at that scene. She's here to tell us all about it now.
Yeah, it happened about 9:15 this morning, about 6 miles southwest of Joint Base Andrews. A DC Air National Guard F-16 fighter jet on a training mission went down in a wooded area between two cul-de-sacs at Wood Elves Way and Mahouse Street. It occurred 1 mile behind these trees just off of Piscataway Road, which was closed from both directions for hours at Dalmatia Drive and Steed Road. Now, according to officials, while no structures were hit, about 20 nearby homes were evacuated temporarily as a safety precaution. Luckily, the adult male pilot was able to eject from the aircraft and parachute to safety, but it's still unclear exactly what caused the incident.
The information if that plane was inbound, outbound. We do understand there was some trouble with the aircraft prior to that crash. The pilot, an adult male, successfully parachuted out of the craft and was picked up by a military helicopter, transported to an area hospital where he's reported to be in good condition.
Very heavily densely populated area. We're not sure, his communications with Andrews as far as what was going on with the plane, but yes, for the pilot to be able to eject and not be injured and the plane go down in a wooded area without affecting the homes, absolutely very fortunate that we didn't have any lives lost today.
Now, as residents near the crash site begin to come home this evening, they are being asked to call Joint Base Andrews Operations Center if they find any plane debris. That number is 240-612-4428.
So I understand the response effort was a joint effort.
Most definitely, because it was a military jet. Prince George's County did indeed respond because it was in PG County with fire and EMS, police, as well as paramedics. But Andrews Crash Fire Rescue was there on hand to make sure that all of the fire was put out. They used foam and water, a combination of both. In addition to that, they are now in the investigation phase. So they have taken over everything, and they just want to assess whether or not there's been any environmental or property damage at this point.
All right. Good
Thank
news
you,
here is no injuries and no major damage.
Yep, the plane basically landed in between two residences, two neighborhoods, right in the middle of woods.
Thank you, Janine. All righty. Paid sick leave is one step closer to reality for Marylanders. Members of the House passed the measure today, 87-53. Supporters gathered outside the State House following the vote. Under the measure, which has already passed in the Senate, companies with more than 15 employees will have to provide 5 paid sick days annually. The bill's sponsor says it will help more than 700,000 Marylanders take care of their families.
Pass this bill, and that's what counts, and it's for working families, And when you have a mother or father that has to go in and is sick and their child is sick, and they can't take leave, that's shame on us. So this is the reason why that I am in support of this bill, to make sure that you all get the leave that you deserve.
It was important to me because, like I said, I am a mother, and there were times when my children were young and they were sick, but I was a widow and I had to go to work to keep a roof over our heads and food in our mouths. So I had to nurse them the best I could, send them to school, and prayed that I didn't get a phone call from school.
The governor is expected to veto the measure, but supporters say the votes are there for an override.
2 Maryland lawmakers are looking to head off new federal guidelines involving internet privacy. You'll recall last week, Congress reversed Obama-era protections that prohibited internet providers from selling customers' private information. State Senator Jim Rosapep of College Park and Delegate Bill Frick of Montgomery County are looking to keep the protections in place. Among other things, the bills would prohibit the companies from displaying advertising based on the user's browsing history without permission. Well, Baltimore's delegation calls on U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions to rescind a request to postpone the city's consent decree. In a letter, the city's congressional representatives call on Sessions to implement that agreement. Now, the consent decree follows an exhaustive federal investigation that addressed systemic civil rights violations in the police department. Delegation members say they're concerned that the Justice Department is retreating from its obligation to protect the federal civil rights of Baltimore residents by delaying reforms.